Good morning, colleagues.
Good morning, Honorable Chairperson.
Morning, Chair.
How are you this morning?
We're good, thanks. And you, Chair?
I'm
Morning,
also
good morning, good
thank
morning,
you.
honorables.
Morning, Memang Kinga.
Is it for me?
Yeah.
Hi, Anthea. Do you want to flight it from your side?
Oh, gosh, I don't even know how. Do you
No
have
problem.
the...
I have.
Thank you so much, Gosh. And then with the legacy report, I'm just going to go through the slides, eh?
Yes, I understand. I'll just put the slides up.
Thanks so much.
Good morning, colleagues.
Good
Guess
morning.
what? Guess what?
Recording in
Morning,
progress.
Chairperson.
Yes, I want to check if all members are online so that we can start the meeting.
Chairperson, we have Honorable Godsall, Honorable Mtinga, Honorable Pala, Honorable Nui, Honorable Zulu, and yourself, Chairperson. That's 6 members. Not all the members are on the platform yet.
All
But-
right.
But yeah, we may proceed. This is, we have 6 members, which is a majority.
Yes, I want to believe that you are correct, because as we said previously, we would want members to know that these meetings will start in time. With that as an indication that we are correcting, members, I want to officially welcome you in this meeting. and want to thank you for honoring the call of our meeting for today. As you have the agenda before you, first item is opening and welcome by the chairperson, then apologies by the secretary, and then there would be items that we would need to consider, which is consideration of the policy assessment and recommendation report of the Select Committee on Security and Justice on the 2024-2025 budget vote 28, APP of the Department of Police, SAPS. Am I reading the right document? Yeah. Oh, no, it's flighted before us, colleagues. And then there's a committee consideration of minutes and as well briefing by the content advisor on the committee legacy report for the 6th Parliament. And item number 4 will be committee discussions. And then item number 5 will be way forward and recommendations. So with that being said, I want to officially welcome you, colleagues. We are at item number 1. I just to employ to all of you that let us do justice and service to our people as we have committed ourselves as this select committee, that we would just do what we have to do at the right time, at the particular time. So with that being said, I want to wish you well in this meeting, that our engagement must be the engagement that will take us forward. We have agreed that our first sessions, we will be using all recommendations as a baseline for our business as Parliament, and I hope today's meeting will reflect that particular commitment. So with these few words, I just want to hand over to the committee secretary so that he take us on the issue of the apologies submitted. We have agreed and indicated that we will apply the rules of Parliament, that we would only note apologies that will come via the committee secretary. So over to you, Gershon.
Thank you, Chairperson, and welcome, honourable members. The committee received a sick note from Honourable Gericke, Chairperson. He won't be in today and tomorrow. Thank you, Chair. That's all the sick notes. That's all the apologies that we received for today, Chair.
Okay, no, thank you, Gershon. Then we would go to item number 1 of consideration of the policy assessment and recommendation report of the Select Committee on Security and Justice on the 2024-2025 budget vote 28 APP of the Department of Police, SAPS. Over to you, colleagues, because we all note that this particular report was given to us so that we can go through it and check if there's anything that we would want to input in terms of what was noted by the meeting. I want to acknowledge the hands as you raise your hands with regards to what you have before you. Honourable members.
Good morning, yes, Chair. Are you, I thought you have given the secretary to take us through the report, Chair, or you wanted us to comment?
No. I didn't give to the secretary to take us through. What I said is that we got the report before. So now I'm noting hands for engagement and input and as well the adoption for that. The only hand that I see on the platform is Honorable Nicholas. Members, are you having a problem with raising hands with your gadgets? So that at least I note and just give you an opportunity to indicate if you would want to say something.
No, we don't have a problem, Chair.
All right.
Myself, I don't have a problem on my side. Sorry.
With
Also
the-
on my side, Honorable Ncinga, I don't have a problem. I can hear
All
and
right.
see everything. It's
Okay.
only Chief Konyana who has a problem. He's trying to log.
I've tried to let in. I'm just coming in. My apologies, Chair.
Okay. We are on item number 1 of today's meeting on consideration of the policy assessment and recommendation report of the Select Committee on Security and Justice on the 2024-2025 Budget Vote 28 APP of the Department of Police. Okay, I've noted there's a hand of Honorable Nicholas and Honorable Pala. These are 2 hands that I've noted, and I would lastly note you, Honorable Nonkonyani, with those hands that have been noted.
Thank you.
Honorable Gotzel?
Good morning,
I'm
Chairperson.
struggling with the hand. I will also want to speak, Chair. Thank you.
Who's the one who'd want to speak at the end?
Nowhere.
All right. Yeah, you will come before Honorable Nonkonyani. Honorable Nonkonyani will be the last.
Chairperson, good morning and good morning to all the colleagues. I have no issues with the recommendations or with the report. I'm in support thereof. I just wanted perhaps from you some clarity. We are expecting the answers to the questions we raised with the ministry, I think by tomorrow or today. And I know that they would be answering the questions that were asked, which fell outside of what was raised in the report, but I in the APP and in the budget. And I just want to know if there is anything in their response that we feel needs to be included in this report. Is there room for amendment?
Honorable Pito?
Thank you very much, Chair. I think maybe if that question regarding the amendment of the report, if it's still there, if it can be answered first, because I think I was going to bring up something which is not captured in the report, which I wanted to put forward. However, it can still be considered whether it's necessary or not, but it's something that was raised in the meeting.
Okay. With regards to what Honorable Gotzel is asking, I think we haven't yet received any questions as agreed in the meeting that we would need submission from what we have asked them. So we just need to make follow-up if there's any response that they have to submit. So, but now on where I'm at, I know that we haven't received anything, as we have given them questions to respond to. With regards to questions that needs to be asked, Honorable Gotzel, in the House, I think we are at liberty to sponsor those questions to our honorable members who are serving in those houses based on what was not responded in the meeting. It doesn't actually stop us from engaging them, because remember, our oversight and accountability, we do it in different ways. So the questions to the ministry as well, it's part and parcel of the oversight. So there's nothing that permits us to even ask beyond the oversight committee, select committee meeting. So we are at liberty to ask whatever that we would want to get clarity on, because for now we have not yet got a submission. Honorable Pito, with regards to the issue of your the amendment, you are at liberty to indicate where the document can be refined, because of now we have not yet adopted these minutes What we are saying is that we are considering them because we have went through them, we have read them. So you can just come on the platform and then indicate where you think that there were omissions so that we note them before the adoption of this particular report.
Okay, Chair, thank you. I think what I want to raise, Chair, will resonate with under recommendations 5.13. It is in relation with the separation of services rendered at the police station, specifically on the front desk, whereby everything is being handled at the same desk, and in some instances, there is a cross services that are rendered by the same people but which are different. In other words, crime-related cases that have been reported and other services that are rendered. Like you see, if you see 5.13, it relates to reporting of cases at police stations which are related to GBV F. And if we come together at the same time in the front desk, I'm going to lay a charge of criminality and somebody's coming with a GBF, but we're going to be assisted by the same police officer at the same desk, whereby I was suggesting that the department should consider separating where the services can be rendered separately. That is my input, Chair.
Okay, it's noted. I think, as you said, it just needs to be refined in terms of divisions of service based on their levels, whether those services are of emergence or what, because I can remember well that indeed we did elaborate that they need to actually divide the frontline services to suit different services that people come from. For instance, they must divide those who come for affidavit, those who are critical and stuff. It's noted and hope that it will be recorded. Over to you, Ntate Phala.
If I may just conclude, I'm sorry. I think maybe Nkosi Nonkonyana will elaborate further. I didn't fully see where the issue that relates to killing of traditional leaders is captured, but it makes reference to councillors. And then also the issue that relates to police dignity as far as their conduct is concerned when they are within communities, where we have seen TikToks where police officers will have been captured at a tavern with uniform, drunk or driving police vans, and at the risk of also being robbed their firearms. That should also be somehow taken into consideration as far as how the police conduct themselves when they are out in the public, and specifically when they're in uniform. Thank you, Chair.
All right. Yeah, I think we are noting because of it's one of the things that we deliberated on the image of this ministry. It's been noted. I hope that the secretary is noting as well with regard to the amendments made by you. Over to you, Ntate Phala. I have noted as well the issue of Amakosi who are being killed in terms of what is it that SAPS is doing about it. It was one of the issues that Honorable Nonkonyane spoke about it. Over to you, Honorable Phala.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and good morning to fellow honorable members. Let me start by thanking the Secretary of the committee for capturing the discussions, our first discussions on this matter. I think he has really captured the information as we were engaging. My question, Chair, I think we have already answered it. I was more concerned about the issues which were raised during the discussions with the department. But Honorable Kotzalo had already asked that question. That was the question which I was more concerned about it, that what would happen to those issues which were raised during the engagement, whether they will be part of this minutes or not. But I think you have already answered it, so I'm covered. Yeah, thank you very much. That's what I was concerned about, Chair.
All right. Just to clarify myself, Honorable Pito, with regards to services, police station in terms of division, it's covered on 5.5. What I think that we need to add is the signage thereof. That needs to be visible as well in our police station as we go, because it is covered on 5.5. I'm sorry, I wanted just to actually indicate that I saw it somewhere it was covered, but now I see it's covered, it's on 5.5, the issue of our input in terms of them dividing their services as it when we come to police stations. Honorable Pala, your issue it's been noted, and I think as well it is indeed important for us to commend and acknowledge the work that has been done, and we will as well refine where we have to. Honorable Mzamo, Honorable Billy, Honorable Billy, I'm passing Honorable Mtinga.
Thank you very much, Chair, and greetings to all the honorables. I really thank you, Chair, for noting 5.5 and 5.112 about GBV. But I just want to add on emphasizing more on gender-based violence, on finance, especially with women. When the minister said his speech, he mentioned that most of the kidnapping are women. And when you trace these cases, there's a lot of cases that I can mention where all these cases that include women that are being killed, it's all based on financial gender-based violence. I know everyone knows GBVF, but is there a way that we can have posters in all police stations that emphasize more on finance, gender-based violence, not just GBV, because everybody knows GBV, but not everyone understands that there is finance GBV. And also if we can have some road shows, the police to have road shows, because a lot of women don't report crimes. Stats SA took out something that says that financial GBV is not really reported because people are getting scared of getting killed and all of that. But if we can educate more, I don't know if we can include that, road shows, you know, to emphasize more on finance GBV and making sure that law enforcement are more on financial GBV. The second point that I want to make is that on the ranking of all those MK members, they won their case, but I think we need to include it so that, you know, the ranking can be equal, because some of them are still warrant officers. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Kinga. What I can say is that with the notes as reflected on our document, it was the discussions of the meeting. They have actually properly captured this particular reflection properly clear. So what we can do and agree on, we're not gonna amend this item because it was not deliberated, as you say. What we agreed is that the department will come back and come and just give us presentation on what is it that they are doing as GBVF generally. That's where you'll come in with those issues to say that, okay, we see what you are bringing forth to us as the program of action in terms of gender-based violence and femicide. So if whatever that they'll be bringing to us, it's not capturing what you are saying that we need to induct about financial abuse, then we can come up with that issue. But in terms of deliberations of the meeting, this is what we have actually discussed as members on that meeting. Just note whatever that you want to indicate and empower SAPS to do with regards to other issues on that day when we meet with them specifically for this item. And next time, bring as well that issue of military veterans who are supposed to be given a certain rank in terms of what is the plan, because of on that meeting that we had, we never had that particular discussion. Let me see who's next. Members, as I've noted, you just come. Honorable Billy, your hands is very intimidating. Honorable Pinowe.
Yes, Chairperson, my hand has been up.
Yeah, has been up, and I've called you before, Honorable Nkinga, and you didn't respond.
I do apologize. It might have been my network.
Yeah, please do so, and you can speak.
No, good
Honorable
morning,
Billy.
Chairperson. Am I audible, Chair? Can you hear me?
You are audible. I can hear you.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you, Chair, and good morning to the members and the officials. Mine is just in three folds, Chair. On 1.1, I think that is correctly captured in as far as the CPFs are concerned and the oversight that you ought to play. I'm just not sure, Chair, that we were quite clear in terms of the report, because I think that was one of the recommendations that we had made, that we be furnished with reports in terms of the functionality of the CPFs in provinces. I'm not sure if we can be any clearer in terms of what is it exactly that we want to see in the reports, or maybe it's a discussion that we can have at a separate meeting. The second point, Chairperson, is on 5.8, which is on the SAPS strategy to deal with the construction mafia. Again, there, I see in the recommendations, it says that we need to be given quarterly reports. Again, I think that's quite vague. Maybe, Chairperson, with your guidance, maybe we can try and really narrow it down and get to a point where exactly what we intend to see in these quarterly reports, and how we can ensure that there is substance in what we are wanting to have sight of. And then the last point, Chair, is on the issue of firearms being stolen. I think Honorable Gotzel had asked a question on emanating from the report, which was that there was a plan to try and reduce it. And I think the question was, it shouldn't even be reduced. I think the amount was like 500 in terms of the target. And I think the view was that in actual sense, we shouldn't even have a single firearm being stolen. And I think it's important for this committee to have maybe, to be appraised on, why can't, there be, a target of 0 instead of 500 stolen firearms, because these ultimately become a danger to society and end up in the wrong hands. And I think we must work towards that instead. That's my 3-point, Chairperson. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Billy, of being clear. But I just want to remind you that remember those items of the issue of CPF in terms of the resource on our specifics, and as well this one of the construction mafias. We said that when we go to our strategic plan, we then define the business of our agenda to say what is it that we want the ministry to come and brief us. So I just want to lobby you to say for now, because of this is what could have transpired in our meeting, can we note this item as noted and then agree that when we meet at the strategic plan, then we come with that issue to say that when we'll be meeting with the department in terms of issues of construction mafia, these are the issues that we would want to discuss, Chair. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, as the agenda for the program of the second term. And what I'm noting as well is that what you have said now, lastly, is just they just need to refine that item that speaks about police firearm, of which on that one I concur with you that the item needs to be refined. Is it a follow-up, Billy? Oh, no, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Honorable Pito, I just want to check if it's a legacy report, because I
Yeah.
don't think I want to promote. It's a legacy end.
Yeah, still on the recommendations, Chair. Maybe it might fall in what you responded to Honorable Quinga. But
Okay.
because it is written there, my input might not be necessarily to say let it be done now, but I just want to flag it. Maybe we can engage with it further on as we engage with the feedback. But if you look at 5.12, the last paragraph, it reads thus: further police members should receive the necessary training in all the GBVF legislation from the frontline officers to those on the ground to ensure that the victim-centered approach is adopted in policing in South Africa. Chair, I was just thinking out of the box that perhaps maybe we should look at this matter, that we might be overburdening police officers on something that is not of policing per se. Maybe we should consider going forward having dedicated people, even if they are within the police, but not necessarily police officers who can be able to deal with these matters of the GBAF within the police.
Can I call
don't
order
know.
on you? I want to call order on you.
Okay, Chair.
Yeah, I think I have noted what you said in terms of this matter to be more elaborated in our strategic session. But the issue of SAPS having other people to come and deal with GBVF, it was not part of the discussion. Here we were dealing with issues of higher level in terms of police officer services and GBVF services in terms of their units. It's part and parcel of their agenda that you would have a specific SAPS official dealing with this issue. So that issue of them getting other people is things that we're going to be discussing as we meet as the select committee in terms of drafting our future agenda with regards to our issues. So I think without a meeting, your issue is noted that there's more that needs to be discussed. But the reflection of this item, it is as we deliberated in that particular meeting. Honorable Mzam, can I check if this hand is legacy hand?
Indeed, Chairperson.
Can you lower the hand then? It's very intimidating.
I do apologize, Chair.
All right. Honorable Midupi?
Honorable Chair, thank you very much. Without much waste of time, Chair, I will not dwell much into questions, but rather raise one question around, I'm not sure because I was not part of the session, but I've tried to familiarize myself with the recommendation by the committee, the engagements of the committee. There's one unit, Chair, that it's a competency of police, which specifically deals with forensic, around issues of forensic fingerprints when there are house breakings, and that, like for instance, the province that I come from in the Northwest, there was once a situation where there were break-ins in a small town called Swadregens, and the police responded later than this, later as in after a few days, when the families have already interfered with the evidence that was there, with their own fingerprints and so on. So, and we were reliably informed at that time that there's only one personnel. They are understaffed, and there's only one personnel that deals with that function. So I'm not sure whether that has been covered by members. If not, should it be one of the issues that we raise when we meet with SAPS in our next engagement with them? Because to me, I find it to issues of housebreaking. To me, it's more of not limiting it to housebreaking, but it's an organized crime that every time people goes away with such such murders and incidents, and mainly because they know that the police is understaffed when coming to that division. So on that note, thank you. The issue of GBV, like you rightfully advised the committee, I will just follow the tune. Thank you very much, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Midupi. I'm very light, and it is my courtesy to listen to all the members. I did note you. However, these are it's the deliberations of the meeting, and I fully agree and understand that you have indicated that if there's a need of your input being taken to our discussion at the SRED plan, let it be. Your issue has been covered by other members during the deliberations with regards to your DNA backlogs, and I think when we discuss that item, you would need to come up with that issue and bring it light as it is in terms of your experience in the Northwest. Because indeed, when we are in this particular platform, we need to raise issues from our provinces. So I want to give you a surety that come SRED plan, everything that we have as garbages, as challenges that we need to deal with from our provinces will be the ones that will guide us in terms of our oversight and accountability. So with that being said, honorable members, Honorable Nonkonyani, I want to check if you are accurate now to can speak, because I've noted that you have challenges with your gadget. So I want to check if you can now speak.
Chair, thank you very much. My apologies to you, Chair, and to the honorable members. I've been listening to all the deliberations since I addressed the issue of my communication. And I want, first of all, to clear the concerns of some members, and agree with you, Chair, that, of course, the report that is being tabled is the report that reflects our deliberations when we met the department. And we must also bear in mind that we could not have enough time for them to really respond to the questions that were put. But I want to allay the fears of members that it does not mean then that there will be no other time. As the members know, we will be debating the issue on that on Thursday, And again, that will be the platform in which we'll flag some of the concerns which are legitimate, have been raised by the members, which we raised when we met them. And again, furthermore, there will be time where we pose questions to the security cluster on certain other issues that affect our communities, as members correctly pointed out. And in view of that, Chair, I want to join those who said, let's thank the Secretariat for the report. I think it correctly reflects the deliberation that we had, and of course, subject, of course, to minor issues that we have already agreed, Chair, that it could be effected. I'm of the view that we must actually approve the report, and in view of that, therefore, I move. If it has been moved before me, I would second, so that we can really approve this report and then prepare for the budget debate on Thursday. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, honorable members, for your contribution.
Thank you, Honorable Advocate Nonkonyane. I think your counsel speaks volume. Indeed, members, the emphasis is that all these issues that you feel that were left out during the deliberations of the meeting, you are at liberty that as you debate this budget, you can just bring them to forth in light of that discussion and the debate. I've noted that Honorable Nonkonyane is adopting this report with all the amendments and omissions and additions. So I want to check for a seconder of this report. And please note that I would only note those who attended the meeting in terms of seconding this particular minutes as a true reflection with the amendments.
Chairperson, I second.
Can you put me in light in terms of I'm so and so, and I hereby second the minutes as adopted? Please do so for the recording purposes.
Nicholas Gotzel from the DA, and I second the proposal by Advocate Nkonyama.
All right. Thank you, the progressive one, Honorable Gotzel. Thank you for adopting these minutes with all the amendments and additions. And we move then to the second item. Honorable members, now we are on committee considerations of minutes. You have a set of minutes that you have received with you, and I hope that you have went through them in terms of checking where your issues have been left out. So I don't want us to repeat what has just happened in terms of hands being raised for new discussions. I want to know too, with all these three sets of minutes, the one of the 18th July 2024, and as well the one of the 15th July 2024, and the last one of the 16th July 2024. So as I note you, just indicate where you think that the minutes doesn't reflect the deliberations of the meeting, and indicate where you think that you need something to be said with regards to whatever that you want to input on. I'm noting hands, members. Members, I'm noting hands for amendments or additions or adoption of all these reports as tabulated to us. Honorable Piso Nowe, Honorable Gotzel. Okay, I've seen some sign of clapping hands. I don't know what is it all about, but it will be important if the member raises the hand and then indicate how he or she feels about this particular report. Honorable Nowe.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, I've gone through the minutes, the first set of the 11, when we were electing you as our honorable chairperson. and one of the 15th. But 3 sets with me, and the last one is that one of the 16th years. And if that's how we want to approach it, Chair, from my side, I haven't picked up anything that was not part of the discussion. Everything is well captured, and I so move that the minutes be adopted.
Thank you, Honorable Pito. Honorable Midupi?
Honorable Chair, I would like to second the mover. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I don't know whether it's on my side or what. All right. So the minutes has been approved as a true reflection of the meeting. All set of minutes that were before us. So we have considered this minutes as a true reflection of the meeting. The only thing that one have identified, honorable members, Honorable Secretary, on the item 10.5, where there's an indication of an answer in terms of Home Affairs after Northern Cape answer, there's an I that is idling there. I just want to indicate that it just needs to be removed. It's just an one actually that is idling. I don't know what is it for, but the minutes are as true as reflections of our deliberations. And thank you, members, for adopting these minutes as true as they are. Now we can move to item number 3, briefing by the content advisor on the committee legacy report for 6th Parliament. Before I hand over to Anthea, one would want to indicate to you, honorable members, that as chairpersons of select committees, we just come from our first meeting as chairpersons, and we have agreed in that meeting that as we are being taken through this particular legacy report, it's for us for noting so that we go and read and use this legacy report as a tool, base tool for our strategic session. So as you'll be listening to Anthea taking us through this particular report, just note issues that you think that we need to emulate for our future plans in our strategic session so that they form part and parcel of our program of action. Over to you, Anthea.
Morning, Honorable Chairperson, morning, honorable members. Let me just read properly so that you can see me. I'm going to turn my video off now. Gershwin, if you can please share the slide presentation.
Chairperson, just give me a second. I'm just having a problem with this device. I'll sort it out now.
Chair, just to say that I'm presenting the legacy report, but our researcher, Patricia Whittle, is with us, and Gershwin Dixon, our secretary, Chair. So even though I'm presenting it, we're a team. Okay, Gersh, you can move on to the next slide. Thank you. So the committee derives its mandate from the Constitution, Joint Rules of Parliament, and the rules of the National Council of Provinces. The committee oversees the following departments: Justice and Constitutional Development, which includes the SIU and the NPA and the Magistrates Commission. I will talk a bit more about the Magistrates Commission in the slides following. We also oversee the Department of Correctional Services, as well as the Judicial Inspectorate for Correctional Services, which is an independent investigating body over correctional services. We oversee the Department of Police, the Civilian Secretariat for Police, the Independent Police Investigative Directorate, as well as the Department of Defense and Military Veterans. Chair and members, just to bring your attention to this one. For the most part, the committee does not really deal intensively with the Department of Defense because there is a joint standing committee on defense. So for the 6th Parliament, the committee focused its energy mainly on military veterans because there were numerous issues related to the rollout of benefits to military veterans, just to give you insight around that. And then to also bring your attention to the fact that during the 6th Parliament, the Departments of Home Affairs and International Relations were added to the work of the committee. And I will talk a bit more about the impact of the addition of these two departments to the committee later on in the slides in relation to particularly staffing and capacity, Chairperson. Thank you, Gershwin. So just an overview of the work undertaken during the 6th Parliament. The committee processed 32 pieces of legislation, 10 international agreements, and 1 petition. Chairperson, I want to just pause a bit on this. I want members to understand that our committee possibly processes the most legislation in terms of the NCOP. And a large focus of the 6th Parliament was on legislation. In addition to this, the committee also processed various regulations and fulfilled its statutory functions in respect of the processing of Magistrates' Commission reports, firearms amnesty, and increases to the salaries of magistrates and judges. As members will note, the increase of the salaries of magistrates and judges is on the agenda for our meeting tomorrow, and that is a statutory obligation of the committee in terms of the Magistrates Act and the Judges Act, members. The committee also attended to the removal of Advocates Jiba and Mugwebi from the NPA and attended to appointments made in respect of papers referred to the committee. The details of this is contained in the lengthy report, the full legacy report that has been circulated to members. Thank you, Gershwin. The committee also conducted 8 oversight interventions, either physically, virtually, or via joint meetings with other committees in Parliament. The provinces that were visited during the 6th Parliament was the Western Cape, KZN, Limpopo, and Free State. Oversight was further done via the budget hearings on an annual basis with the departments overseen by the committee, and the departments were then required to respond to the recommendations as we have done today in terms of the Department of Police and last week in terms of the Department of Home Affairs. Thanks, Gersh. Public participation was always encouraged in terms of legislation, and sufficient time was given to commentators to make written submissions to Parliament during both the Section 75 and the Section 76 processing of bills. If the bill was either of a technical nature or was of great interest to the public, the committee hosted public hearings. So, just to explain, Chairperson and honourable members, for each and every piece of legislation, the committee did not necessarily host public hearings. When the committee was in a position to understand the written documentation that was submitted by the commentators, the committee would go through those comments and we'd look at the analysis, which is what I would usually do for the committee. And then we'd get the department to then come and respond to the comments made by the commentators. And then later on, we would follow through and adopt the bill with or without amendments. The committee also received many submissions on bills before the committee. And these submissions were then, as I said, responded to by the department. It's also important for this committee to note that the committee was unable to undertake a study tour as planned to Brazil or Ghana. The details of that is also contained in the bigger legacy report document as circulated to members. So as I said earlier, legislation remained a key focus of the committee. Chairperson, I see there's a hand raised. Chair? Should I continue or?
Sorry.
No, I think we should
Chair.
continue.
I can wait till the end. Doesn't matter.
Okay. Gershwin, you can move on. So I just wanted to highlight, look, the legacy report itself contains the full list and tables of all the different legislation that was passed by the committee, including summaries of each and every bill that was considered by the committee. But I thought that I would just highlight a few key ones. So last week we dealt with the Department of Home Affairs, and it was during the 6th Parliament that this committee passed the Border Management Authority Bill, which was a key piece of legislation as it allowed for the dissolution of the fragmented approach to the management of borders to be replaced with a more streamlined approach, which will serve to ensure that border management is addressed in a more efficient manner. And as we noted in last week's meeting, it is a key area that members have indicated that they wish to conduct oversight of moving forward, which is really great. We also passed the Electoral Laws Amendment Bill and then the 3 GBV bills. And this is why we've also indicated largely, in the report, and I'm glad that members raised this issue around GBV, because this is also an important issue moving forward in terms of oversight to ensure that these different laws, these gender-based violence bills, are actually being implemented whether it's at the Department of Justice, whether it's with the Department of Police. Our oversight function is to ensure that legislation that has been passed is being implemented effectively moving forward. Thank you, Gershwin. So we also, in a very tight timeline, had to pass at the end of 2023 the Electoral Amendment Bill, because it had a Constitutional Court deadline, as well as the Paktatara Bill, which is the terrorism legislation, Chairperson. And this was really urgent due to the possibility of South Africa being grey listed. And it was a very condensed process which we had to engage in as a committee, but we succeeded in passing it within the time that was allocated to us. The other important bills that we passed was the Prevention and Combating of Hate Crimes and Hate Speech Bill, Chair. This one was also one that we spent quite a lot of time on, given the subject matter of the bill, and yes, Chair, we engaged a lot with the public comments on that bill. Then there was the Correctional Services Amendment Bill and the Land Court Bill, which was also a very, very important bill in terms of establishing an established and separate land court to deal with land court claims, Chairperson. The Electoral Matters Amendment Bill, yeah, we also passed. We did a couple of Electoral Matters Amendment Bills. And then the Cannabis Bill, Chair, this one also elicited a lot of comments from a wide range of stakeholders, and that bill was passed by the committee, as well as the Independent Police Investigative Directorate Bill, which now establishes the IPID as independent, Chair, and then the Divorce Amendment Bill as well. As I said, the details of all of this is contained in the bigger report. Thank you, Gershwin. So in terms of oversight, has been...
Sorry, Chairperson. The last slide, I was just asking the abbreviations which are not so familiar with us. I'm not sure if you can explain what is Paktatara. Thank you.
Dada, no. No. Dada, no. Honorable Member, please. Your issue is noted, but you have just got some document that speaks about this Paktatara. But in future, I think it's noted your issue as a point of agency. But please don't do that. You are disrupting the speaker. You can continue.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chair, I know there's a lot of acronyms in the document, but the details of those acronyms are contained in the actual detailed report that was sent to members. So, but yes, we can discuss moving forward, Chair. So as I said, we oversaw the implementation of the Border Management Authority at the Beitbridge border post in Limpopo province, Chairperson. We also hosted after this a joint meeting with the Portfolio Committee on Home Affairs on the implementation of the Border Management Authority. So, Chair, in certain instances, we found it very useful to do joint meetings, which is also something that the committee could consider moving forward. In respect of the Department of Military Veterans, the committee was very passionate about the military veterans and the rollout of housing benefits, not only housing benefits. The committee discussed the rollout of other benefits such as education benefits, health benefits, all the different benefits, and looked at, what was preventing all of this from happening effectively and dealing with the department. Chairperson, in this regard, also, if members want further detail, we have the Secretary Gershwin has the oversight reports for each of the oversight visits undertaken, which can be shared with members. We also had one online engagement with the Department of Military Veterans, and then after that, the oversight visit was undertaken to the Free State province in respect of the housing benefits of military veterans. We also looked at intersectoral implementation of recommendations related to GBV matters, as well as specific oversight visits to police stations, as well as interacting with police stations on community policing and the community policing forums. This was particularly undertaken in Limpopo, where we also conducted an oversight over the High Court in Limpopo province. And we discovered that is where we started really seeing that there are some infrastructural challenges, which I'll speak to a bit later in terms of the recommendations that we then make in the legacy report, Chairperson. Gershwin, you can move on. So in terms of oversight, it's also important to look at, the COVID-19 pandemic also redirected much of government's focus, with the committee realigning its oversight to accommodate these matters jointly with other portfolios in the NA. And this really speaks to my earlier point around the joint meetings that were undertaken. We were required to work virtually, and right in the middle of the pandemic, there was the civil unrest in KZN during the period of the 9th to the 18th of July. And then the committee proactively went out to KZN to conduct oversight. The committee met with Nat Joints, with the police, and then also, as I indicate here, we went to go visit Umzuntu Correctional Center in KZN for inspection, because that was, as a result of the civil unrest, there was also a strain on the correctional center. And we actually did a full on-site inspection of what had gone wrong there. So that is also, something that the committee could look at in terms of future work around correctional centers, and particularly this one. Chair, we also undertook a joint oversight meeting with the PC Justice on the systemic challenges facing the Magistrates Commission, specifically. Chair, in this regard, I will speak a bit more on the Magistrates Commission report in the upcoming slides, and then I will elaborate a bit more on these systemic challenges, if you just bear with me. Thank you, Chairperson. Gershwin, you can move on. So, in terms of the statutory functions, one of them is to approve firearms amnesty. So in terms of Section 139(1) of the Firearms Control Act 2000, it provides that the Minister of Police may, by notice in the Gazette, declare an amnesty if the amnesty may result in the reduction of the number of illegally possessed firearms in South Africa, and if it is in the public interest to do so. So our statutory obligation comes in terms of Section 139, subsection 2 of the Firearms Control Act, which also provides that such amnesty will only be valid if it is approved by Parliament. Now, Chairperson, when we talk about our statutory obligations and we talk about the approval that's required, whether it's in terms of the Firearms Control Act, in terms of a firearms amnesty, or whether it be in respect of the salary increases, which we will deal with tomorrow, it is required that the approval must be done by both houses of parliament. So these matters would then, for example, and with regard to the firearms amnesty, the matter will serve before the Portfolio Committee on Police, as well as before the Select Committee on Security and Justice. And with the increases in regard to the salaries that we will deal with in regard to magistrates, it will serve before the Portfolio Committee on Justice as well as the Select Committee on Security and Justice. The same is true when we deal with the magistrates' disciplinary matters, which I will talk to next, Gershwin. So the committee also has a statutory obligation in terms of reviewing and dealing with the recommendations made by the Magistrates Commission regarding whether it's provisional suspensions or suspensions of magistrates. And the committee will then meet with the Magistrates Commission, receive a briefing on a particular matter, and then either agree or interrogate further the issues related to what the Magistrates Commission is proposing to the committee. So the committee would ask all the relevant questions on the reports being presented, and in all of the matters, the committee agreed with the recommendation presented by the commission to the committee. Gershwin, if you can just move on. So the committee processed provisional suspensions of magistrates, confirmation of suspensions, or actually what you term a removal of a magistrate, and suspensions or removal of a magistrate. Most of the suspensions related to either misconduct of magistrates or ill health, but most of the cases related to incidents of misconduct, Chairperson. And when I spoke earlier about the systemic challenges, the committee noted long delays in the process of the Magistrates Commission dealing with the disciplinary matters of magistrates, and then with the recommendation being served before the committee, like quite a lengthy time afterwards. So that was why there was a concern between the PC Justice and the Select Committee, which prompted then the joint meeting to try and ascertain what some of these challenges were that the Magistrates Commission was actually dealing with in terms of expediting some of these matters. Because obviously with long delays, it also impacts on the fiscus, Chairperson, as when magistrates are put on suspension, they would then still receive their salary. But we have also recommended and approved reports where the salary would also then be terminated if it's a long suspension and the matter is still ongoing. But we will get into more of that when we deal with the actual Magistrates Commission reports, Chairperson. In all the meetings regarding the Magistrates Commission, the committee emphasized that magistrates as judicial officers of the courts should have the highest ethical standards, and their behavior should be above reproach, as this will serve to instill the confidence of the public in our courts of law. Thank you, Gershwin. So in terms of Section 13(3)(f) of the Magistrates Act of 1993, the Commission is required to report to Parliament once per quarter on provisionally suspended magistrates. So, Chairperson, we had our last meeting just prior to the end of the 6th Parliament, and we then dealt with a quarterly report, amongst others also reports around suspensions, etc., Chair. And we then noted that there had been a gap in the quarterly report of the Commission from 2021 to 2023. And the committee then questioned and queried this with the Magistrates Commission in that meeting. And the Magistrates Commission informed the committee that a new chairperson of the Ethics Committee was appointed in 2022. And that was why there had been a delay in quarterly reporting. And they'd also indicated that the Magistrates Commission is currently developing standard operating procedures, implementing guidelines, file audits and instituting various mechanisms to reduce the delays in processing the disciplinary matters of magistrates. So that was a good some good feedback that we had, that they at least are addressing the delays, Chairperson. But obviously, moving forward, it might be something that the committee would still wish to follow up on in terms of just ensuring that matters are dealt with timeously. Thank you, Gershwin. So budget hearings and the petitions. So in 2020, Chair, prior to 2020, the committee wasn't required to produce budget reports. So in 2020, the committee started producing the budget reports and considered the budgets and annual performance plans of various departments. At the beginning, focusing mainly on SAPS, the Civilian Secretariat for Police Services, and IPID, the Independent Police Investigative Directorate. In the following years, Chairperson, the Department of Justice, the Department of Home Affairs, and the Department of Correctional Services were added to some of the reports adopted and published by the committee. The budget hearings took a lot of time as the committee could see now in the last 2 weeks. Obviously, it was done in a much reduced time now, but from next year, we'll probably take much longer, and there may be more departments. But the budget hearings allowed members to really conduct in-depth oversight over the budgets and plans of the departments. And as members know, these budget hearings then culminate in debates in the National Council of Provinces. Thank you, Gershwin. In the 6th Parliament, Chairperson, it was the first time the committee also received a petition, and the committee ensured that the petitioner received a son's mortal remains and ensured closure for the petitioner. So in this particular matter, the family had wanted to bury their son, and there'd been some, the family couldn't really get the answers from the Department of Police or the Department of Health in respect of where their son's body was. And so the committee then set up a meeting with the Department of Police, Health, and MEC's Chairperson, as well as with the family. The committee then listened to both sides of the story and formulated recommendations. The committee then also followed up with the department, and Gershwin played a big role in this petition, Chairperson, and he has details of this report. But it was something that we were quite proud of as staff, Chair, because we really felt as a committee that we really helped the petitioner to really find closure, and the family finally received the remains and were able to bury the remains of their son through the intervention of the committee. And as I said, this report is available from Gershwin. Thank you, Gersh. So the committee's key focus areas in the 6th Parliament was on the Zondo Commission report, Chair. So the prosecution of corruption cases as identified by the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into allegations of state capture, corruption, and fraud in the public sector, including organs of state. Overseeing the implementation of legislation passed, for example, the Border Management Authority Bill, as I mentioned. The committee further engaged with the challenges in respect of the Magistrates Commission, as I mentioned. The committee also engaged with the Department of International Relations on international and bilateral agreements, as well as twinning agreements of provinces. Chairperson, just to mention, in this particular instance, we were meant to receive a list from the department on all the bilateral agreements, as well as the twinning agreements of the provinces. And the intention of the committee was actually to visit the provinces who had twinning agreements with other countries, and to really understand, in an attempt to understand how it was working in provinces. So we just need to follow up with the department on this if the committee so decides that it wishes to focus on this moving forward, Chairperson. Thank you, Gershwin. Key areas for future work. The committee should continue its oversight over the implementation of legislation in the 7th Parliament, as many important bills were passed during the 6th Parliament. A key focus should be on the implementation of the GBV bills. As indicated, we had passed those 3 GBV bills, which also forms part of the National Action Plan on violence, on gender-based violence. The committee should engage jointly with other relevant committees on the implementation of the Zondo Commission report findings and state capture. The relevant committees would include the Portfolio Committee on Justice and the Portfolio Committee on Police, Chairperson. Thank you, Kirsch. Given that the Border Management Authority is still in the process of implementation, oversight of borders and the implementation of this legislation should also be prioritized. The committee should oversee child justice centers and Tutuzela centers, as this oversight activity forms part of the National Action Plan against gender-based violence. Thanks, Gershwin. Another key area of oversight is to meet with the Department of Public Works in respect of the infrastructural challenges within the various departments in the criminal justice sector. Chair, I know our researcher is actually busy with a document around these infrastructural challenges, which I'm sure she'll share with the committee when it's available. So, I mean, we'd be looking at courts and police stations and there's been various infrastructural challenges that came up just in our engagement with departments. Also further engagement with the Department of International Relations, as I said earlier, around the twinning agreements of provinces is recommended, and then continued oversight over the Magistrates Commission to ensure the speedier resolution of disciplinary matters. Thank you, Gershwin. So some key challenges was the limited timeframes for processing of legislation, with some pieces of legislation having constitutional court deadlines, passing to the committee for concurrence a few months before the deadline, and in one instance, the international obligation related to the Pacte Bill, requiring the committee to condense their processes to pass this legislation. So, Chair, I think in this particular instance, if I remember, we literally had like a month, and we had to really find a way to ensure that we didn't compromise on public participation, but at the same time, we had to pass the legislation because it was so important. Thank you, Gershwin. The committee also noted an influx of individual submissions. There's a civil society organization called Dear South Africa. And on key pieces of legislation, we would receive what amounted to more as comments on whether they support or do not support or do not fully support the bill. But actually, our committee, when we accept submissions on bills, Chairperson, we usually require organizations to actually say, in relation to a particular clause in the bill, this is what they comment on, or this is what they agree with or disagree with. So we try to actually communicate with Dear South Africa, and we're hoping that moving forward, they understand that they must please send us like one document with the consolidated response to the committee in terms of legislation. Thank you, Gershwin. So at the beginning of the 6th term of Parliament, the committee was restructured as chair. I just wanted to reflect a little bit on this issue around capacity. So myself, Gershwin, and Patricia, Chairperson, we the staff in terms of all the departments, except for Home Affairs and International Relations. So when the Department of Home Affairs and International Relations were added on, we have engaged with the PC staff chair. And when they are available, they do provide assistance to the committee in terms of research or content support, in terms of home affairs and international relations. So I just think it's important for members to understand that we are sharing some capacity in terms of providing support to the Committee for Home Affairs and International Relations. And a recommendation of the Sixth Parliament Committee was that it would be good if we could have dedicated staff in the committee for the Department of Home Affairs and International Relations. And then also just for the committee to note that we did have a secretary for the Department of Home Affairs and International Relations, but he sadly passed on during the Sixth Parliament. So that's just something to note moving forward in terms of staffing. Certain oversight visits were also not undertaken due to the COVID-19 restrictions, as well as due to the volume of legislation being processed by the committee. Thanks, Kosh. So another recommendation is that the NA should implement plans and timeframes for processing bills timeously, particularly those with constitutional deadlines, to ensure that the NCOP has sufficient time to process legislation in respect of both Section 75 and Section 76 bills. I've spoken already about the Dear South Africa submissions, Chairperson, and that the submission should reflect the main comments as opposed to petitions. Gosh, you can move on. We've also recommended that the committee should prioritize more oversight and find an effective balance between the volume of legislation before the committee and the committee's function of conducting oversight in provinces. I've mentioned the oversight over the Child Justice and Tutuzela centers already, as well as the meeting with the Department of Public Works in respect of the challenges in relation to infrastructure within the criminal justice sector. Gershon, if you can just move on. The oversight over the Magistrates Commission I've mentioned, as well as the twinning agreements of provinces, Chairperson. Yes, I've also mentioned the additional staff allocation. And then just to come back to the second bullet, we would really like the committee to prioritize a study tour in the 7th Parliament. Just to also say, the committee hadn't undertaken a study tour in both the 5th and the 6th Parliaments, Chairperson. So it would be really good if the committee could, because this would really enhance the knowledge base of members within the committee around specific focus areas moving forward, Chairperson. Gershon, I think that brings me to the end of my presentation, Chairperson. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. I want to note the hands of the members, noting what I've indicated from the chairperson's meeting with regards to legacy reports. So I'm noting your hands for clarity-seeking questions or for consideration of this legacy report, that we would go in depth through it when we go to our strategic planning session. But if there's something urgent that anyone on the platform, honorable members, needs clarity on or want to suggest, you are at liberty to indicate that. I'm noting your hands with this legacy report before us in terms of what has been presented before I come in. Over to you, members. I'm noting hands. The first hand is Honorable Gotzel, and then the second member would be Honorable Pala. The third member will be Honorable Noe. Over to you, members.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm happy. I have quite a few notes and things for discussion, but I'm happy for them to stand over until our strategic planning session, because a lot of it is just work that I think we should continue on. I just wanted to congratulate especially the staff on the work that they've done, and also on that petition that they managed to administer in order to get the remains of the the elderly couple's son back to them. I have one question of clarity, and that is just about the study tour. I noted in the report that was sent to us, and which I read, that there was a plan to do oversight over Brazil's ability to do electronic voting. And so in my research, I note that they have elections every 2 years and that their next election is coming up in October this year. I was wondering, I mean, I'm not saying we need to go to Brazil by October, but if there is perhaps any way in which we can start observing that now, seeing as their elections are around the corner, that might be something nice for us to look at over the next 5 years.
Honorable Kotza, you have switched your mic off.
Yeah, thank you. That was it. That was it.
Okay, thank you. Can you please lower your hand? Honorable Pala.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Let me thank the content advisor about presentation. I've got two issues which I want to raise here, honorable members. The first one is at the content advisor. Is there any legacy matter with the constitutional mandate? I mean, the constitutional deadline, which requires that this committee work on it before the date elapse. That is the first thing. The second thing, honorable members, is the issue of military veterans. Here I'm speaking about people who dedicated their lives to the freedom of this country, who and many of them suffered, but have not received any benefits. And those who have received benefits, the benefits really are not equivalent to what they've done to this country. I'm going to request this committee really to look at the report which has been compiled, and we discussed about it in our strategic sessions. One of the things which I really feel that it was never properly done was what you call special pension. Those people or individuals who are involved in the struggle, who are supposed to get their special pension. Some of them receive their special pensions, but with regard to those who were in the defense force and those who were in the intelligence, when they retire, that those benefits cause problems for them. So I would really say we should look at those reports and see what we can do. This is something which is very much close to my heart, and if we can really deal with it, Chairperson, I'll be happy. So those are the two things which I just wanted to mention, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Pala. Honorable Nkosi. Honorable Nonkonyane.
Oh, Chair, I'd lowered my hand, but anyway, I think Honorable Pala has actually raised what I wanted to raise, but it is minor, but in particular, there is an act which was challenged in the Constitutional Court. It is Traditional and Khoisan Act, I think 3 of 2019. It was quashed and then referred back to Parliament. I'll listen to the content advisor whether that has been referred to us as part of the bills that need our special attention this 7th Parliament. That's the only thing that I wanted to raise, Chair. Otherwise, I'm very happy with the report, and I think it is empowering us so that as we go forward, at least we know what this committee and all that served in it done before us. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you, honorable members. Honorable Midupi, you are saying that your hand was up.
Yes, Chair.
Oh, but it was not up on this side. You have actually clicked a clapping hand. That is why I didn't note you. Yeah, you can continue.
Thank you very much, Chair. Mine is not a question, but rather to join my colleague who was appreciating the work that has been done by our official in putting up this legacy report, which is a report that indeed will enable us to execute our responsibility as the committee. And I just tend to move for the adoption of this, for noting this legacy report, so as it will help us in doing our plans and programs. So I move.
Okay. No, thank you, Honorable Midupi. I think you are actually echoing the same sentiments as Honorable Gotha. And let me just hand over to Anthea, then I would just summarize in terms of the notes that one have taken when you were making your inputs. But I want them to note that we are considering this report as a working document. Over to you, Anthea, in terms of other issues that have been raised as clarity, or the issue of the tour to Brazil for for excursion in terms of e-voting, and as well the issue of legacy report mandate with constitutional matters that had lapsed, if we do have any, and if we don't have now, when this report comes to our strategic plan, it should reflect such. And then on the issue of the military veterans interest as well, can you just make input and clarification, and noting as well what has been said by Honorable Nonkonyane about traditional leaders and the Khoisan? Over to you.
Thank you so much, Chairperson, and thank you, honorable members, for your questions. Honorable Gotzel, in terms of the Brazil, we were going to undertake that study tour jointly with the Portfolio Committee on Home Affairs, and it would really be up to the committee in its strategic planning session in terms of taking that forward. And I think it would be a very important exercise in terms of a study tool moving forward. But that is for this committee to make a decision on in terms of when it gets to the strategic planning session. So certainly it's something that we will put on the agenda. Chairperson, in terms of Honorable Pala, the issue around the case, or at least legislation with constitutional court deadlines, at the moment there is nothing. The only matter that was serving before the Portfolio Committee on Home, sorry, Chair. Okay.
What is happening? What is happening on your side?
No,
you can continue.
Okay. So in terms of legislation, the only bill that was before the Portfolio Committee on Home Affairs was the marriages bill, which would now have to then be revived in the new parliament. So that is the one at the moment that's on the agenda. But Chairperson, also for members to note that when we go to the strategic planning session, I will compile a list of all the legislation that is anticipated for this committee for the next year or two prior to us going to our strategic planning session. And that list will then be shared with all members, and it will be cross-cutting around all departments, whether we're receiving the legislation from Justice, police, home affairs. I'll set it all out for members prior to the strategic planning session, Chairperson. And then in response to I'm so glad that the member has raised the issue of military veterans, Chairperson, because I think that in the Sixth Parliament we really touched on the heart of some of the issues, and the member rightfully says that we need to go into more depth around the issue of military veterans. And so it is definitely something that we can discuss at the strategic planning session further, Chairperson. And then in terms of Honorable Nkosi around the Traditional Khoisan Act, it's my understanding that that bill was referred to the Select Committee on COCTA, Honorable Nkosi, but Gershwin and Patricia are here and they can assist if I'm wrong. Gershwin, I think you had a bit of knowledge around this Traditional Khoisan Act and its referral. So Chair, thank you. I'd like for Gershwin to maybe respond to that one, just to confirm or deny if I'm right or wrong with that. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Anthea. Gershwin?
Hi, thank you, Chair. Just to confirm that the committee finalized all the legislation in the Sixth Parliament, so we don't have any outstanding legislation before the committee. We're starting with a clean slate. And in terms of the bill that Honorable Nkosi mentioned, it has been referred to the Select Committee on COCTA, but it hasn't been revived yet. The process is for the NCOP to revive the bills in the ATC and in the House, and then from that point onward, it will commence from where it ended in the Sixth Parliament. Chair, just to also add one more, Matty, in terms of the staffing, Chair. Our colleague, he passed away in 2023, and since then, our institution has put a moratorium on further staff appointments. So at the moment, we are operating without a second committee secretary, but we hope to have those issues resolved as we move forward with the budget now being approved, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Gershwin. I'm happy that you are covering that one with the fact that yesterday we deliberated on the budget. We hope this issue would be one of the first and soonest matter to be addressed. Colleagues, with those deliberations, one would want to appreciate your concentration in this meeting and your deliberations and inputs. It really shows that a capable state is something that can be achievable. I'm happy just to note as well the good story about the outcomes of the petition committee through the intervention of the committee, that we were able to put the matter to rest in terms of helping the family. This is a good story. However, if it wasn't by this meeting, one could have not known in terms of how the end results of petition. So it is important that as we go to our strategic session, we are able to note that the issue of petition, it cannot be dealt with on the basis that we have received something from the petitioners. It really shows that there's a need of civic education. The indication of DSA sending individual comments rather than sending petition, it really shows that while we are waiting for the petition to be submitted, there's a need to take our country and our people along in terms of teaching them what is this animal called petition and how do they get our services through petition. So I've just noted the few that even this issue of the milvets, when we meet with the Department of Defense, there's a need that we speak about it and that they part, so that our message becomes clear that we do really want to carry the interest of military veterans, because of they've actually liberated us as the country in general. One would want to say that I'm at liberty to just want to advise prior to our strategic plan to say, with whatever that we have as a working document, this one of the legacy report, can you assist us, the researcher, our secretary, and our content advisor, to devise a template that would actually indicate systematic challenges that are cutting across our department that we are actually in charge of as this select committee. Number two, indicate oversight, good stories, oversight lessons that have been learned. And as well, on the other column, indicate the recommendations as you have put them here, but just put them on just next to the activity or item or program that relates to it as lesson learned and as well recommendations, so that us as this select committee, we are able to work from lesson learned to recommendation to future work based on what you could have submitted to us. And one would want to say, colleagues, yesterday's deliberations in terms of the budget vote, two of parliament, the issue of being a responsive parliament was one of the issues that was carried through by all the speakers. So there's a need that in this seventh parliament, we don't, we are not taking for a ride, but we need to ensure that even the study tour, we actually conduct them, because it's not for luxury, but it's for us to exchange lesson and draw from best models in terms of what to do and what not to do. So there's a need that when we go to our strat plan, we need as well clarity on what is there for us as the budget for study tours, so that we plan accordingly, and where the departments need to meet us halfway, those that we are paying oversight on them, they must be able to assist us where they can, because we cannot be this select committee that is just going to listen on radio and hear that Minister so and so went there and there while we are playing oversight. When they go where they go, we want to call on them to actually take us along. Even if they don't take the whole committee part, they need to take people that we think that as a committee they must go and represent us, so that our oversight, it must be robust and it must have innovation. They can't be all alone everywhere. Then when they come back to say we have learned 1, 2, 3, we want to be there with them. So that when we play oversight, we must be able to say, why didn't you do 1, 2, 3? Why you went to let me just make example, to Lesotho for 1, 2, 3, and you come back and you want to say you are still planning and still learning. So there's a need that now, as we do our work with this legacy report, we need to carry as well our provincial mandate. We need to carry our provincial interest. I mean, we are the same people who live in this same communities, same townships, same suburbs, same rural areas. So when we come to our strategic plan, that room should be an engine room that will be seen as a business conference where we'll be deliberating to say, from this second term, from this date till here, this is what we are going to do. We're not going to be approaching our strategic plan as people who need just questions. We are going to advise and recommend and cancel, because I know for the fact that in this select committee, we've got capable men and women that have led before in different levels and from different all walks of life. So when we go to our strat plan, whatever that we have as experience as activists must come to life, so that we rescue those who've been feeling that they are neglected, they are excluded, they are marginalized. So I just want to say we are on the course to ensure that we liberate our people, and socioeconomic issues are real issues. When they are affected by crime, when they are affected by not having identities, when they are affected by issues that are not going well in terms of prosecutions, we are the ones who must ask the question why, and we are the ones who must tell what needs to be done. So I want to close this meeting in the same breath that this is a document that we're going to consider and adopt as a living document for us to execute our work in our strat plan. With that being said, colleagues, I declare this meeting officially adjourned, and I want to thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Bye.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank
Bye.
you, Chair.